Right now, land fraud is a huge issue.
Yeah.
And so let's say you call me and you say, I have this piece of land I want to sell. Well, I'm going to call the title company first to make sure that we open title on it, that somebody else isn't trying to sell it out from underneath you. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can come up.
Now, I had a loan officer trying to figure out the property that I had. They're like, well, we need a letter of verification. And then they sent me to a website, and there was like all these different styles of verification. I was like, well, didn't the deed just have this? And so I was like, why can't you guys?
That's what the title company does. The lender doesn't do that, but the title company is so important because they're the ones that are making sure that there's nothing that's going to hold you back from buying the property or selling the property, that it's all done legally, that everything's transferred into the right person's name. Yeah.
So can I go directly to the title company? I don't need a realtor, right?
You don't need a realtor. You can go directly to the title company. Just make sure you know how to read all the legal documents and everything to look for and everything. Ask the title company first. So
these guys that are buying and selling their houses, like, for sale by owner, what happens with them at a title company?
Same thing.
Okay.
So the same thing. It's just a lot of times it's not done up front. Like a realtor would handle all of that up front, maybe even before you go on market.
Oh.
And maybe even before you go into a transaction, they're already working with the title company to make sure everything's going to align appropriately for the transaction to go smoothly.
Okay.
Whereas for sale by owner, they might not necessarily do all of that, and they pick it up in the midst of the transaction. A lot of times they'll hire an attorney rather than a realtor to handle the transaction for them.
Okay. Wow.
Which can also be pretty costly.
Well, why would you say get a realtor for it? Like, why would you say get a realtor to do it?
Instead of an attorney, you're trying to handle it yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good question. There's just so many facets of each transaction. And so in all the years that I've been doing this, and probably any other realtor that you could talk to that's been doing this for some time, no transaction is ever the same. So you have situations that come up where possibly let's say the owner has passed away and now the children have inherited the property. So we want to make sure it's gone through probate. There's just a lot of extra steps there. If a couple's divorced and the property is being sold, we want to make sure that everybody's lined up where they're supposed to be and the right names are on the contract and on the deed and all of this. So the realtor's facilitating all of that. They're going through all the contracts for you. They're making sure everything's taken care of as far as the it's a lot of paperwork. So the paperwork for everything from, let's say it's got a septic system on it. We want to make sure, was that inspected? When was the last time it was inspected? Is it ready for the new buyer? So there's a lot of different facets, and each transaction is different. So
yeah, every property is different. There's always something crazy about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They don't always know what to expect. And sometimes even the homeowner doesn't understand everything that's happening with their property.
Wow.
So conversation I had this morning, the seller didn't realize that they were in a mud district. So if they tried to sell by owner, then they would not have disclosed that they were in a mud district, and that would be a really big issue for the new buyer to go into that not knowing, because that means their taxes are going to be much higher than they would have anticipated.
A mud district. That's so crazy. Mm-hmm. And then I guess you guys do oil, mineral rights, all that kind of stuff.
We would check into all that. So that's also where title can come into, is checking in to see who owns the mineral rights. These days, very few sellers own their own mineral rights.
So they've already came in and claimed them.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to me on one of the properties. I didn't even know what to do. I was like, how much are you giving for it?
And again, that's why you have a realtor or an attorney.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. So it would be best if they get approached by somebody that says, hey, I want to buy your mineral rights. I'll give you $1,000 for them, or we're good to go. You go get a realtor ASAP.
Yeah, you want to talk to a realtor, talk to an attorney, definitely talk to the title company and find out, do you even own the mineral rights to be able to sell them?
Oh, my goodness.
Because a lot of people don't own them anymore, at least here in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. That's cool. How many houses are going up right now that you're selling?
Me personally? Mm-hmm. I just have 3 listings right now. Yeah, not a ton, but it's plenty for me. I'm working with a lot of buyers right now.
Now, have you lost count of how many houses you sold, or how many you do?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Wow. It was cool. It came in and you were taking pictures of somebody who was closing, and they had like all these signs and stuff. Is that like a regular thing? You always getting pictures like that?
It's really fun to do. Some people don't want their picture taken, which is totally okay. And some people are really excited about it, but it is kind of fun. They have all these cute signs. It's like, I closed at Capital Title, or this is my favorite realtor, or just sold, things like that. So It was kind of a fun way to like end the note of the closing. Yeah.
Oh, very good. And I guess you're doing the state of Texas. That's all you do?
Yes, for right now.
Okay. And you want to stay around what area? Weatherford, Fort Worth?
I'm primarily Tarrant County and Parker County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't want to venture out.
I have done a few things in Dallas and in Palo Pinto, but I mostly stay in Tarrant and Parker County. If my clients need me to go out a little bit further, I will. Once you get so much further out, you don't know as much about the area. It's a little harder to facilitate a healthy transaction that way, so I'll generally refer them out if they're too far out of my zone.
I see. And for somebody that's wanting to get into realting and stuff like that, like, do you need a consistent job and then do realty on the side? Is that
That's
a thing?
a good question, and I think that varies from person to person. I have met, of all the realtors I know, I had one realtor tell me they went from their previous job into real estate and just took off running, and they didn't need any financial support other than real estate.
Wow.
But that's out of hundreds of realtors that I've met. Most people are working another job, or they have a partner that maybe has enough financial income to support them while they get started.
Yeah. And I guess what's stopping you from going commercial or large ranches and stuff like that?
Oh, that's a good question, too. I have done some commercial leases. I don't really work in commercial sales. I guess it just doesn't interest me as much. It's a very, very different type of transaction. I like working with home buyers and sellers. It's a more intimate and personal transaction, and I like the connection that I get with those folks.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, I got a 20-story building. Got to sell this thing. What is it? Yeah.
Yeah. I was working one transaction that was commercial, and I called another seasoned commercial realtor, and man, she just starts telling me all the different scenarios in which that building could be used for. I'm like, that did not even cross my mind, right? She's like, that's a future, veterinarian clinic. That's a donut shop. And she just starts going off, and she's like, you need to be able to manipulate this building into being whatever it needs to be in order for the tenant or the, new buyer. And anyway, that's just, I haven't spent a lot of time studying that. And there are people who are really, really, really good at that. And that is not my territory.
That is interesting. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Being a realtor, I guess you try to dabble in, try to find your grounds. I guess, Walsh Ranch is popping up. Is that something that you're trying to align yourself with?
Not specifically with that subdivision. I will work over there if my clients are interested in that, but I really go wherever the client leads, and each client's needs are very unique, very different. My office is in downtown Aledo, and so, I'm totally willing to work in Aledo, but I'm a Fort Worth girly too, so I love Fort Worth, and wherever the client wants to go, if they have specific neighborhoods they're interested in or a home style that they're interested in, I'll just follow their lead.
Yeah, and I guess that's what's interesting too, because you're not just a realtor on your own. You said you have backup. You have a group of individuals you help out, or that help you out. How's that work?
So, as a realtor, or you mean in the brokerage?
Yeah.
Our brokerage has around 50 different agents, and we are spread from Austin to Amarillo. And so if, let's say, somebody wanted to start looking, outside my territory, then I can call another agent in that area and say, hey, Bob's interested in, Amarillo, and I'm not going to be able to travel that far for them. So I would send them that way. As far as inside of each transaction, we generally, if they're not a cash buyer, they have a lender. And we want to work very closely with their lender. And then we have the title company. So you have your escrow officer inside the title company that you're working very close with. You have your home warranty people that you're working with. You have the insurance company that you're working with. So yes, a lot of us are working together as a unit to help that transaction come to close and everything to be aligned like it needs to be.
And you were saying that you like this title company a lot, and you work with this guy, this title company, but what is it about? Like, I guess, do you have to persuade your buyer or your seller to say, use this title company?
No. Usually I'll just tell them I've, had really good transactions, with Capital Title. And so they're like, okay, great. Because most buyers and sellers don't know who they want. They wouldn't know the difference from one title company to the other.
Yeah.
So they're relying on us to give them really good reference for everything.
Do you have to fight with another realtor? Like, I want my title company.
No, usually it's on the listing side that they're choosing the title company. So if I list the property, then I'm going to select the title company. Obviously, I go to my client and say, hey, I really like this title company. If they have somebody that they want to use, then we'll use whatever title company that the client wants to use. But if they don't, then they usually go with our recommendation.
Okay. And you were saying this was the best because they're organized, they know what they're doing, kind of thing.
They're very organized. Their communication is top notch. I can call and ask questions before we've even gone on market, which is super helpful. Like I said, they have many plants. I'm not really sure that'd be a question for the title company, how many plants they have.
Yeah.
But I can even call them on nights and weekends occasionally when I need to and ask questions, and you just don't find that everywhere.
Yeah, I was wondering, did you just find a good part of the branch? Because there's multiple branches, right?
Okay, yeah, that's good. No, actually, they facilitated deals for me all the way out in like Palestine and stuff where they handled it here at this branch, but the closing took place out in Waco. So, they will make it happen because they have so many locations. They are able to do that. Some of the smaller companies, they can't facilitate that. They don't have the manpower.
I see. How fast does this happen?
That depends on the transaction.
Because there's so many, every property is different. There's always something that's sticky, but for the most part, a new house or something, they can pretty much cover it pretty fast.
Yeah, usually. It does depend if it's a new build. It depends on what type of loan they're using. It can depend on if they're a cash buyer. So is it land? There's different things that come up. But they're really good about staying on top of it. What
were you saying that was a problem that you've seen in the past with other title companies? Like, because I've came to it's not filled out, and it's somehow they do something. Maybe this is a thing. It was like the last day on the last transaction at the evening that they're going to close. I'm like, is this like a thing? Is this what they're trying to?
It shouldn't be a thing, but stuff does happen sometimes, And again, that might be the fault of poor communication. That might fall on the title company. It could fall on the other realtor. Maybe they weren't staying on top and, they didn't have everything submitted like they needed to. When you and I were working together, we had some stuff come up at the very last second where they didn't have the right street or drive or whatever the issue was. And we were at the table and they were trying to verify if this was 123 Banana Street or 123 Banana Drive. Yeah. And they got it done, but that should have been caught.
Way early on. Yeah.
So our documents were correct, but the title company hadn't handled things correctly.
I see. Yeah. And
we don't work with them anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. And years ago, I used another title company. And it was like, what was it? They were like, you're going to read this? I'm like, well, I've never seen it before. This is the first time I've seen it. And they're like, where's your realtor? And my realtor at the time was not there. And I didn't know you. This was years ago. And so I just started going through it. I'm like, I'm sorry, you guys are about to close, your doors for the evening. And this is the end of the tax whatever. But I've got to look through this. So I'm looking through it. And I'm like, this is not signed. I can't sign this because it's not filled out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. So that happened. They had to fax something off, then bring it back in. And I was just like, is this like normal? I didn't know if it was normal or not, And then what happens? You find yourself in that situation. When do you pull the plug? Do you say, I'm not going to use you guys. I'm using another title company.
Yeah.
Like, when does that happen?
How many times are you willing to get burned?
Yeah.
My client's well-being is at the front of my mind all the time. So in a situation like that, I'm not going back. I caught an officer telling lies at a title company. I'll never work with them again.
Wow.
We don't fib. We need to be honest. We need to stay on our timeline. That's super, super important. So, and we don't want to get to the closing table and have holdups.
Yeah. And now there's also things that a lot of buyers don't think about. And what was it? I remember the title company we were finished our deal, and he's like, don't get mortgage insurance. You're going to get calls out the wazoo about mortgage. Don't even take it. I was like, wow, this is kind of a cool guy. He's telling. And of course, he was like ready to bust out the drinks and get things going to celebrate. But it was also, there was another thing. Oh, water. There's this water thing that this guy approached us, and he looked very professional. And he was like, is this the guy with the city? No. He was just selling water filtration. So it's interesting how there's these people at the doors waiting for you. So.
Yeah, you don't really want to have a salesperson sitting there waiting for you to come out of your transaction.
Yeah.
but it happens.
It does.
It happens sometimes.
And it's great that there's these professionals. Essentially, they're not working because you feel like you're being taken advantage of. Somebody's working on either side to get you, and the title company always gives me confidence.
Yes.
The realtor should give you confidence.
Yes.
They're working for you, and not just like I'm just one out of 1,000 people that's buying a house.
No, the title company should be your security blanket. They are doing all the checks and balances on everything for you to make sure that when you've signed, that you are now the new owner. 100%. That you don't have to fight with anybody later on for that. And that's part of the reason you have title insurance too. Like you're making sure, all of that is solidified at the closing table, and your realtor should always have your back. So if you ever feel unsafe or uncomfortable, then you probably need to look to work with a different realtor.
Yes, and that's the thing is you feel stuck. You're like, I got to work with this person, especially when you're under contract. You're like, I can't not do this. I want that house really bad. I'm gonna have to work with this person. Man, now that I know what I know, it's just kill that loan officer. Get another one. Get a better one. You had tried to convince me to get another one. I'm like, I can't yet, and I should have switched. And we probably had enough time to do it.
We did,
but
it's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. It happens sometimes. Sometimes you have to live and learn, and for the next time, that just happens sometimes. And it's okay. We made it through, though.
Yes,
we made it through.
And it's okay as a buyer or a seller to say no.
Yes,
I'm stopping this. I'm waiting to get clarity.
Ask the questions. Ask the questions. If your realtor doesn't know the answer, that's all right. They should be looking to get you the answer, though. Again, you're their client, not the lender, not the title company. You're their client, so they should have your best interest at heart.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You should never feel pressured. Think of when you hire a realtor as you're hiring an advisor. Okay? They're not really a salesperson. They're not there just to unlock their door. They're to make sure that you're covered and you're secure and you're being advised on the transaction. So if you decide that you want to continue working with your lender, even though your realtor might see that there's some questionable things happening, you've been advised, and then you can make the choices based on that. If your realtor sees that there's some questionable things happening inside the transaction, they need to let you know. Doesn't need to be, we're up in arms and this is alarm bells, but you need to know what's happening, and they should be advising you through that.
Very good. How can I find you online?
I'm Realtor Cortney Caylor on Instagram, and on Facebook you can just look up Cortney Caylor.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Do I look up any brokerage or and then this place? How do I find this place?
Okay, I'm with Charitable Realty. We're in Aledo, Texas, and Capital Title. This location here is here in Weatherford, and we could post their information and add links for everybody.
Awesome. And then if they call here first, they could probably find a good realtor.
If they call here and Capital Title doesn't refer me, then we're going to have words. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Awesome. Yeah, they could call the title company. Yeah, they definitely could. I don't hear of that happening very often, but it could be a thing, especially if they were thinking about doing it for sale by owner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you pull in some. It's better to do a realtor before an attorney, essentially.
Well, I can't necessarily say that. I think that's situational, and it depends. Sometimes people do need to call in an attorney depending on the situation. So, yeah, if they have an attorney and they want to talk to them first and get guidance, sometimes the attorney might say a realtor can handle that for you.
Have you ever dealt with a situation where you're representing a seller and they're got a buyer that's for sale by owner type of thing? Have you dealt with that?
I've had some people that were for sale by owner and they were not selling their property, and then they came to me and asked me to represent them to sell their property for them, because it's a lot to take on to sell your property. You've sold property before and you used your realtor. That was a lot, right? So if you want to triple that work, then go be a for sale by owner and have fun.
Exactly. Go have fun on an industry you're not familiar with.
Exactly. Like, I would never try to deliver your baby because I am not licensed. I don't have a degree. Like, I've never done that before. So, that's kind of what you're looking at. I mean, that's your biggest financial investment. Like, do you really want to just roll the dice and see how that plays out? Or, you're saving, a couple $1,000s?
Yes.
Or you could have a professional advisor to make sure that everything is done properly and have the safety there. Make sure that, you walk away with what you deserve.
That's a good scenario.
Yeah.